for 45
Oh, really?
minutes. And
Whoa.
why isn't it going through? Oh, God damn. Excuse my French.
Oh, it says it's, I'm seeing it. It's just taking some time.
Well, it says that my channel doesn't exist, so I don't know why that doesn't. Everything's on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me pull this one back. Such a joy trying to figure this technology stuff out.
Hey.
I was using Zoom this morning and everything was fine. And then I went to go on this afternoon to just make sure that everything was good. And then my camera wouldn't work.
I see us.
Okay, we're on every place.
Okay.
We're on. Yep. No, we're not on okay, hang on. Okay. Let's see if this will work now. Where are we? Okay, let's see if it'll go to the LTI Facebook page. It's the one place we're missing. Come on. There we go. Woo! I always, I almost seem like a little kid. I know. But it's just like, oh my gosh, it actually went through. That's good.
There you go.
So, and we're almost to the top of the hour. So we're just going to let it rest here for a minute while I can see if I can get us to the right YouTube page, since it took me to the wrong YouTube page. Here we go. Yep, we're live on YouTube. Since it took me to the wrong YouTube page. Let me turn this volume off. Here we go. Yep. Okay. Just so I can monitor all the chats. Mm-hmm. That's we have to bring somebody on our team who can that I can pull on with us to monitor the chat and help when we do things like this. That's one of our next team members that we need to add.
Nice.
So I've been learning from a lot of other people who have been doing this kinds of thing. And so that's the Annie Brock page. Now let's get the LTI page, because I want to make sure that I get every place where I'm supposed to, so I don't miss any comments in the chat, so that we can talk to people. Okay, Twitter's the only place. I haven't figured out how to make that work on my laptop, so they'll have to post questions that way. We'll catch them some other time. Cool. We don't usually have people watch live on Twitter. Okay, so we are up, we are rolling. Woo! Woohoo! Okay, so hello everybody. Welcome to the October 2020 Leader Transition Institute Training and Coaching Session. If you are on with us for the first time tonight, or listening to one of our recordings for the first time, I'm Annie Brock, President and CEO of LTI. We hold these sessions on the fourth Tuesday evening of each month as a way of continuing to add value to the service members and veterans and their spouses and our surviving spouses who have attended Changing Focus Moving from We to Me, our flagship program for service members who are transitioning from active duty to the civilian sector. And these sessions are open to anyone who's interested in adding value to themselves. So I know that not everyone who's watching us tonight may have attended Changing Focus, and welcome if you're not a Changing Focus alum. I want to tell you that you'll have access to the recording wherever you're watching it on the live stream for the next 24 hours or so, and then it is going to disappear. But Changing Focus alumni, you will have access to it in our vault. And we are honored that all of you are allowing us to be part of your journey in creating what it is you want for your life. Tonight, Chris McPhee, a retired U.S. Army Green Beret turned professional photographer and project manager, is our guest. After 21 years of military service, his new mission is teaming up with organizations to help them share their message or their story via the media channels of photography, video, and podcasting. He's got over 2 decades of experience leading teams in challenging work environments and more than 10 years of photography and videography experience. Now, I want to make sure you have something you can take notes with, because I promise he's going to drop some nuggets and you don't want to miss them. So, Chris, my brother, the microphone is yours.
Yes, Annie, thank you, sister. To all my JMTers out there, all my brothers and sisters, good evening. Everybody on the channel, good evening, and thank you so much for having me. So this evening, I want to change things up and reverse and flip things upside down. And if you're watching and you have any questions about tonight's subject, which is building an online presence, how do you do it? How do you start? Where do you start? What are the tools? If you have any burning questions right now, please present those in the chat, and we will go in at those questions. And then once we exhaust the questions, we'll dive in to this evening's session. So I'll be quiet for a little bit.
Okay. So, hey, JB, if you have any questions, I'll look for them later. I'll give you a chance to put them in the chat. Let's see who else is out there. I don't see any questions yet.
Okay. Well, cool. No worries. Just wanted to make sure I was able to bring some value right away to anybody who was looking forward to hearing and getting something out of this evening's training. So I will start right up. I want to let everybody know I'm not coming to you as an expert. I want you to receive the message that I'm giving you tonight as someone who's gone before you, and I've done the work. I've had the lessons learned. I've had mentors to help me, and Annie has asked me to come back from the future and give you what I've learned. And that's the position I'm coming to tonight to you. And we're going to do a little gap analysis. I know all us business folks out there know the term gap analysis and what it's all about. You know, we're here in the layman's terms, and we want to get here, and right in the middle, there's something missing. Okay, so I take it tonight, everybody's here is wanting to build online presence in the social media realm, especially during this time of COVID. It's very important, and everybody who wasn't active on social prior to COVID realizes if you want to stay relevant, if you want to stay top of mind, you have to get online somewhere, whether it be on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, all the channels on the internet. You have to be on the internet. So we're going to go down the road and do a little gap analysis. Okay.
So Naomi wants to know, with Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, etc., how do you keep up with all the different platforms? That's a really good question.
Okay, I like that one. And I'm going to take the lazy man's approach to that. And that's 3 platforms. That's a lot of work. So for me, what I do between Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn, those are the 3, right?
Yes.
So for me, since I want to do a lot of B2B work, the majority of my time and the time is spent on LinkedIn. I view LinkedIn as the office space now, right? So that's where all the business folks are. We're learning on LinkedIn. We're sharing good content. Things like your dog and your shirt off, or where you went for vacation, that's really not allowed in LinkedIn. It's like a norm. We're not really wanting to know what you ate for dinner last night and you're taking a screenshot. So I view Facebook as when we get off of work now, you know, so Facebook is where we go and chill and hang out and have fun and decompress from the days at work. So since I'm focused on B2B, and it's very easy on LinkedIn. So if you're a small business and you want to do business with other businesses, or you want to find professional individuals to provide a service or a product, or have them come to an event online, I would suggest going to LinkedIn. I'll tell you a quick story. On January 1st, before pre-COVID, I was like, man, I was in a Bunker Labs VIR, and I was working there. Big shout out to Bunker Labs with the veteran community there, helping us grow and scale our business. So I was in the VIR at WeWorks in Washington, D.C. and January 1st hit, and I was like, man, I need to get something going. I got these headshots. We're doing video. I got to get this podcast up and running this year. And I pulled out my phone and I started scrolling through the thread. And I was like, one of my objectives while I was at Bunker Labs for the VIR was to shoot a major conference, a big conference, not a small event, but a conference with hundreds of people. And I was like, well, if I get this gig, I have to hire a couple of other photographers because I won't do it by myself. So I'm scrolling through my phone on LinkedIn and I see this post by a lady named Jenny Clark. Her company's called Solvability. And I was like, oh, there's a conference. It's in Tampa. And based on the relationship I built with another veteran entrepreneur who's also in media, I saw his name. And then I also saw another gentleman that I met on LinkedIn, Eric Doc Wright. He's a big project manager. Vets to PM is his business. And since I know those two people, I was like, well, they're going to be hanging out with Jenny Clark. So I messaged her and I was like, hey, I noticed Rich Cardona is his name. And she's like, yeah, he's doing photography and video. And I see, Eric Doc Wright. She's like, yeah, they will be here. I say, well, I also do photography and I understand you have somebody else, but I have something different. And she was like, oh, really? Well, tell me about it. And I was like, well, I do this, this, and this. And she was like, okay. I said, would you mind me having a moment of your time and talking to you and tell you a little bit more? So Jenny Clark calls me at 5:30 that evening and we had about an hour conversation and I closed her to be her personal videographer at our conference in Tampa, Florida in March of earlier this year, 2020. So if you want to do business with other businesses, if it was me, I would spend my energy on one channel. That would be LinkedIn. Go narrow and deep on LinkedIn, and that's where I would go.
Okay. So there are two more questions. Good questions too. So the next question is, how do we keep our online presence consistent without sounding overplanned? Because we want to stay relevant.
That's a good one. That's a good question. And a lot of people have gotten used to these tools like Hootsuite and these planners. But the thing about those planners, you do get mundane because it's hard to process enough content that's authentic and that people will receive and not see it like, oh, that people can tell right now, people can tell if it's a system that's automatically posting or you posting. I could tell. I could look and tell and just see just by the verbiage if it's you or it's somebody doing it for you or it's automated. Because I've used those systems and those systems are cool if you have a big business and you have a staff that's able to sit there and monitor those. That's cool. So if you need to use that, have some filler content. Okay. So if you're using automated systems, don't automate and don't engage. So if you're automating, you need to go and engage some of those posts. So if you made a big post about, if I make a post about how to build your business and podcast with an article, then I go do 20 other things. I need to come back because Annie might post a question. And if 2 or 3 days go by, you're losing her. I'm losing her because she's thinking, well, Chris just posted this. I'm gonna post a question and a week go by and now I'm responding. She's probably found another solution to help her with her problem. So if you have key posts that you put in your lineup and you need to automate, make time to go back and get in those comments. Send some comments to people and make sure, and that's how you stay relevant. That's how it stays authentic and real.
Okay, great. And then, and that's awesome. And I'm putting some of the answers that you're saying even in the chat.
Yeah.
So, next question is, oh, wait a minute, where'd that go? See, we should have somebody who really knows how to do this part for me.
You're doing great. You're doing great.
But my question
Positive talk.
disappeared, and I don't understand why my question keeps disappearing. Okay.
Positive talk.
Oh, that's where. Wait a minute. There we go.
Oh, that's for my sister Trish.
Okay. So, what's the best way to measure successful engagement on LinkedIn?
Successful engagement on, like, way to measure it.
Yeah.
So my thing with content, I don't know where I was reading this, so I'm gonna just say, like, I didn't just come up with this. I'm not like I say, I'm not an expert. I'm a student of the craft. So what I believe is, if you make content online anywhere, it needs to, especially on LinkedIn, you need to be educating somebody. You need to provide some type of entertainment when everybody wants to check out from the computer by the water cooler. So, and then you need to evoke some type of emotion, whether you want to inspire them to buy a book, come to an event, or join your group because they need some help. So that is my framework when I'm trying to create content. So if I create a piece of content that I want to push engagement, then it's going to be something provocative that I'm going to send, and then I'm going to post that post, and then I'm going to babysit it. Because I knew I did my homework and I know this is going to hit. So I sit there for the next hour babysitting that post, and I just respond. As soon as they come on, it's automatically. If any posts a comment or a question, I'm like, hey, what's up? Great. And you just talk like you're actually talking to that person. We know we do a shorthand online chat. It's okay. Everybody knows it's online. Long as you don't talk like that, and long as you don't say LOL and hashtag, long as you don't talk like that in person, it's okay. So online, especially on Facebook, it's okay to do that. LinkedIn, you may want to make sure you make some great bullet points and use some punctuation and spelling, because I could go real fast and be like, oh man. And some people have called me and was like, hey, Chris, great post, but this is misspelled. And I'm okay with that. Long as you follow up, but you have to babysit that post. If you're strategic about it to drive engagement, you got to babysit that post. And I tell everybody, I've been posed the questions. Hey, Chris, how do I get more engagement online? Are you engaging anyone? So if your posts are not engaging, if they're not entertaining, if you're not educating, if you're not evoking emotion, then you won't get any engagement. You'll get a swipe.
Okay. So I have a question. This is my own question.
Okay.
I have seen people on LinkedIn in particular, people liking their own posts. Does that make a difference in the algorithm? Does that really make a difference?
I don't know, but if you don't like your own posts, then who will?
Oh, I suppose so.
So it's just something that I do to start the process, because one thing I've learned on LinkedIn, and if you go into LinkedIn Learning, there's a lot of slideshows and videos in there about social media. I've been able to go and use HubSpot, because I use HubSpot a lot for my CRM and to do some of my marketing when it comes to podcasting. So they have a lot of classes there, and I went through the HubSpot training course there. But one thing that I read about LinkedIn for links, it's good to put the links in the comments versus inside the actual body of the post. But for some reason, the algorithm just likes links in the comments.
Yeah, I learned that the hard way.
Yeah, so tell your people, hey, I got this thing going on. Call that, grab their attention. Tell them what you want really quick. Call to action. Hey, check the link in the comments. They go down, they see the link, and then you can start commenting, or do half of the message up in the top of the post, and then go in the comments and finish what you want to say. Like,
that's interesting.
Continue the conversation, because the algorithm is like, oh, this is interesting. And if you say something interesting, then another professional will chime in, then another one. But then you got to babysit that post. And have a conversation going on until you're like, okay, I only got 20 minutes. I'm gonna engage as much people that come here. Be genuine. Don't just say, oh, great point. Why is it a great point? You know, why do you like it? You know, why does it make any sense? Why does it make sense? You know, well, why do you think that, Annie? I think that's jacked up. And you're like, whoa, who's this guy? You know? And now we're having a debate or a discussion about something of our interest, and the algorithm sees that, and then it's like, hey, this is interesting in your crew because people are chatting on it. This is important to your sphere. And you got to understand, the system's not only going to let what it wants to see. So if you're a group of 3,000 people, if it's not engaging, it's not going to let it rise to the top of your sphere.
Right. And
Yeah.
one of the things that I have taught people to do is that when you when you write a post and people comment on it or they like it or that kind of thing, to look at who those people are. And if you're not connected with them, then send those people a connection request because they're engaging with you. So why not reach out and then get connected with them?
Yep. Yep. That's a good practice. Definitely. It's a good practice.
So,
Good
okay. So I
questions.
think that
Good
that was
questions,
the,
by the way. I'm loving it. Good questions.
okay. So that's the questions. We'll see if any more come in. I'll let you know.
Okay. Well, how much time we got? I'll jump into giving them the gap so you at
It's
least
fine.
have that.
You know, as long as you have time to give us, we'll take you.
Okay, cool.
So I'm not gonna. I don't turn around. I don't turn down good learning when I have
Okay. All right. So like I said, I'm not the expert. I'm the messenger coming back from the future. And this is the gap analysis we're gonna do tonight. And the acronym GAP, GAP. And you have to ask yourself these questions. How are you going to fill this gap, right? You have this gap. You want to build your presence online. The first thing you need to ask yourself, are you playing the game? Do you understand the post on LinkedIn? Do you understand what to do? Do you understand what not to do? Do you understand, what's the best time to post? Do you understand what's the best system for you? Do you understand what your goal is for posting? Why are you posting that? So are you learning the game? And that comes through watching videos, YouTube, listening to books, talking to people like me or your friend that you see that's doing something great. Play the game and say, hey, Annie, how are you doing that? I like what you're doing. Can you show me? I see you're having success with it. Well, show me. So are you playing the game? You got to learn how to play the game. Are you playing the game? Are you playing the game correctly? If you feel like you're not getting results, if you have a gap in your presence online, then you're not playing the game. And that leads me to, are you being authentic? Is it an automated posting plan you have? I'm gonna just say it. Is your stuff cheesy? Is it really you? Because social is an amplification of who you are. So if it's your page, then it's your opportunity, if you're into leadership, to pump it up. If you're into photography, to pump it up. If you're into cooking, then you should have mad videos and content about cooking because that's your persona, that's your business, that's what you're trying to promote. That's you being authentic. So ask yourself, hey, am I playing the game? Are you playing the game? Am I being authentic? Are you being authentic? And which leads us to, there's a lot of P's, and I could drop some P's all day long, but I learned this from a gentleman. I'm going to give him a big shout out to my crew there in Virginia, Veteran Grows America, a crew I linked up with in late 2019 after Military Influencer Conference. And his name is Donnell Johns. Donnell Johns, retired Sergeant Major, great leader, great visionary. And I watched him for some time, and I watched him online. I was like, Donnell, you know what? I see what you're doing. if you go and look at his page, he's always promoting someone else. He's a dynamic leader. That's what we're taught, at our JMT brothers and sisters. It's not about us, it's about them. It's outward leadership, starting from within and pushing out. And Donnell is always promoting other people. So I say to you, if you don't have a presence online, ask yourself, are you promoting other people? Are you promoting other people? Are you practicing promoting other people? Are you practicing what you're learning from the game? Are you practicing being authentic? That's what I would say, those three things. You have to ask yourself those three questions. For me, I started the podcast in 2019. I was like, hey, man, I got to get this thing going. I'm going to just do one show a month. But my intent of the podcast was to connect and build relationships. That was my intent. I wasn't worried about, being a number one podcast or how many downloads. But I use the podcast as a practice platform to be a better speaker, to build relationships, and to help promote their business. Because if you ever listen to one of my podcasts, I could easily go, hey, come to Green Beret Media, buy my Green Beret Media, get my headshots, and just have it be a channel to promote my services to you. But it's a promotion by promotion. It's not about me. I make it about the guest. The story, I might throw a little something in there to keep the conversation going, but I want them to share their story to the world. That's what I tell everybody. You come to the Team Room Talk podcast, it's edutainment. It's education and entertainment. And it's an opportunity for you to share your story with the world. Podcast, when you upload a podcast, everybody on planet Earth could download you right now. If you have a podcast and you're in Tokyo somewhere or somewhere else in the world other than here right now, I could go and listen to your story and get to know you because I'm being authentic on my podcast, Mm-hmm. I haven't really got criticized yet, but, sometimes you might need to, say a little word out of the normal professional circle bubble we're used to working in. And we all know that happens when you feel a certain way or you have a type of emotion going in you might drop a little F-bomb here and there. You might say something out of line, but it's not a consistent dialogue for you. It's just something to just release. And that's the best word you can find. And sometimes it happens, but I have a sticker. I give you a warning, parental advisory, explicit content. So if you can't deal with it, don't download it. Don't download it. So that's what I would say. Are you learning the game? Learn the game. Even though I knew how to use cameras and video and still photography during my years in special forces, but I was using it in a tactical sense,
right,
to collect information, not in a creative. So I had to learn my creative and figure out what was creative about me. And I spent countless hours while I was an Intel analyst, 12 hours a day as a contractor, in between with a YouTube video going and reading Intel reports just to keep me,
so you stayed
12
engaged.
hours a day. It was that?
You stayed engaged.
Yes, to keep me engaged. So I'm listening to, aperture, shutter speed, ISO. I'm like, okay, I got to remember that. Oh, you know what? Let me listen to a little John Maxwell. I want to be a speaker one day. Da, 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 da. Okay, here's Jim Rohn. And I'm listening and I'm reading and I'm building reports and we're still chasing bad guys. So, but I want to do this over here, the creative speaker. You guys are having fun. I'm sitting there in Kuwait 12 hours a day. Granted, I was making a lot of money, but I want to have fun, So I'm sitting there, I'm away from home, and I'm like, man, I gotta get over this. So for the first 18 months as a photographer, luckily my buddy, another Green Beret, was a bass player with a band in DC called Shriner. And he's like, hey man, we need a photographer. I was like, oh man, I'm trying to do this photography thing. You want? So I show up to the studio and I'm like, hey, I really don't know how to do this yet. I mean, we've done missions and taken photos, but we have specific things the commanders want. Commanders and customers are different. So he's like, go for it, man. We've had 4 photographers. So what else? So I gave him 100%. And at the end of it, they was like, whoa, this is exactly what we were looking for. And I'm like, seriously? You like that? I'm like, you like that? They was like, yeah, man, we've had 4. And what's ironic about it, the drum player was a photographer himself, but he was a real estate photographer. But it's kind of hard for him to play the drums and take photos of them performing. So for 18 months, I perfected my game of shooting in nightclubs and bars in DC, the Wharf, Salvy's Tavern, places out in Manassas, the 2 silos. And I just would follow them around. They had their own personal photographer. And I was like, you know what? I'm back learning the game. I was like, okay, I know how to shoot photo. Man, you know what? They're going to need some videos, some music videos. All right. Got to learn the game. Learning the game, music videos. I got photography. Now I need to learn video creative. Hey, man, don't y'all need some music videos? It's like, Chris, we do. So guess what? I produced 4 music videos for them. And they were Chris McPhee style, I like hip hop, I like my hip hop rap videos, but this was a rock blues band. And one day, the first time we went to a live, they had a battle of the bands. They was like, hey man, we need you there. We need photos, we need videos. And I'm like, yeah, I got you. Yeah. This is my first gig. My first video was a live video that I shot and cut for them. And I was like, do you like that? It's like, yeah, man, it's the best one. Everybody loves it. I was like, all right. Okay. I might be okay. So what I tried to do was take what I liked with hip hop rap videos, and I watched rock band videos, and I tried to fuse the techniques of the videographers and make, Chris McPhee Green Beret media style. So, and they liked it. And I shot their album cover, and we released their album in April of 2019. And it's been doing good. His photos are all over his place. If you go to Shriner.com, ShrinerMusic.com, you'll see all the photos there, all the videos. Those are all my photos and videos. So I say, you got to learn the game. You got to be authentic, and you got to practice. You have to practice, and you have to promote other people. That's how you build a presence online.
So, yeah, and that sounds awesome. And so, but what I'm hearing you say is what I've heard you say is to choose one platform, learn the rules, get good at it, be authentic, promote other people. But then also what you did was that as you got good at it, then you were watching other people at the same time and seeing, what can I take from those other people who are doing really well and pull that into what I'm doing so that then I can amp up what I'm doing. Am I getting,
That's correct. That's you're spot on. And that's definitely something that I believe in. Business, the iPhone and Samsung and the Androids are just a remix of the technology of cell phone.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we're doing. We're just remixing. So you know what? I'm gonna take this right here, the collage. I got this idea from a YouTuber that I watched, and just like you were telling me, about your dad, he had covers of photography magazines, and you know, he was a film student, and
Right.
his was like the covers were square, and I was like, and I watched them, and if people have seen me in the podcast, I wear these white frames with no lenses. I got that from him, you know, but you know, everybody doesn't see him, so between the two, because I watched him so much. And then I have a couple other YouTubers. That's one of the YouTuber I learned photography from. He lives in Canada, and creative photography, you know, so take what if you see somebody's doing something good, you know, don't copy it exactly. That's a great compliment, but try to be authentic and add your own creativity to it, because I am doing nothing different than the other headshot photographer. But if people who come to me, they know when they come to get a headshot with Chris McPhee that we have fun. I joke. I tell you not to smile.
You know, I noticed that in your headshot. I always tell people to smile in their in their LinkedIn pictures, and that's you know, we I think we need to be smiling on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
But tell me why you're not smiling in your headshot.
So the headshots that you see of me, I all the headshots you see of me, I've taken them myself.
Those are awesome.
Yeah. The one you have for that image, I didn't want to. I had another headshot when I first retired out of the military. I used to be a real estate agent at Caldwell Banker in 2006. And it was like, hey, you need to go to the studio here. You need to get a headshot for your business card. And so I put on my blue blazer with a white shirt and a tie. And I go in and I go. And, you know, everybody gave me a lot of compliments off of that photo with that business card. So when I got ready to retire, I remembered, hey, you know what? I need a headshot for my LinkedIn. So on my initial LinkedIn photo, and it's on my Facebook page, but it's me with a blue blazer, white shirt, and a red tie, and I got this big smile. And my friend's like, hey man, you look like you're running for office, you know? you look like, you know, I was clean shaven, bald head, clean shaven. But me not smiling, I took that photo in my basement. And if you look at creative headshots, they have expressions. You know, your headshot should be an expression of you. So even though I'm not, it's not a grimace on my face.
Right.
But what I'm trying to provoke to people is that I'm like, I'm watching you, you know, because right now in that moment where I was at taking those photos, I just wanted like kind of like a serious photo on my LinkedIn. You know, it's not super serious. It's still a tight shot. You know, my editor cleaned me up really nice, and you know, I got a nice shirt. You know, classic business casual, no tie, blue blazer, white shirt. I mean, it's textbook.
Right.
But I'm just like, hey, and right in behind the image you see, I'm actually smiling. You just can't see it. So,
Right.
but what I tell people is, a lot of people are a little insecure about whatever. It feels a little awkward being in front of cameras and lights. So I tell people, I try to get them joking and laughing. And I say, show me a happy expression. Show me an expression. Show me confidence. You know, show me intelligence. You know, so that's how I take them through the series of shots. And if I get them giggling, I get them on the backside of their smile. So there's an arc of the laugh. And then on the backside is where I try to take the photo. So on the backside of the arc, that's where I try to capture you. And I could be talking to you, you could be giggling, and I'll be taking shots. And I'm like, what do you think about that? You'd be like, oh, that's it. And it's over. It's
Awesome.
over. So I don't tell people to smile.
Okay. That's fair.
Show me happy expressions. If it's
No
like
happy
this.
expressions. Okay. So
You know?
So Trish Allegre Smith, you know her. I know you know her.
Yes.
She wants to know, was it hard for you to start out in your social media strategy when you were transitioning from the military?
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. And the reason why it was hard because in special operations, we have this persona and security conscious. Security is at the forefront, and especially, I'm not gonna say I was on these secret Jason Bourne missions, but um, identity was a practice within our unit, and being on social, as loud as I am on social, no, 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 no. That wasn't so. It was at that job. I was an analyst, and I came to a moment, and I made a decision that I wanted to do something fun. You know, my first job I was hired to take was at Secret Service. Uh, that was my first job offer, but I turned it down. One, because the salary as a GS7 wasn't really cool for DC, and I have a family and I like to do stuff. I got this, fetish for photography, and it's not cheap. So I turned it down and I took that analyst job. And the second reason why I didn't take it, because I didn't want to be on a pager.
Yeah.
I lived that life of being when they call you and being ready to go and fly away. And then I'm back home again. Then, I'm gone again. I didn't want to live that lifestyle anymore. So I talked to my mentor who helped me, obtain a job. And I told him, I was like, you know what? He's like, hey, I just wanted to present to you. But what it did, it just let me know where I was in the marketplace and how I could present myself. So I kind of fast tracked. The result took 4 months, and they said that was the fastest because it usually doesn't take that long.
Mm-hmm.
It actually takes longer. It's like a 6 to 8 month process. So I was able, through relationships that I built, and was able to walk in the executive building and shake hands with the boss, and who asked me like, hey, are you coming? I was like, if you hire me, I'll be here. But, after waiting that long for a job and stressing about, if I'm going to get a job, I just started realizing like I need to look at other options and move. So that job helped me get out of my way. And that's when I realized I was on LinkedIn. I needed to get out of that bubble of not promoting myself. So, because LinkedIn is the spot where Uncle Joe Frankie, Colonel Joe Frankie, he's a big executive coach when it comes to LinkedIn. And he is my personal mentor when it comes to LinkedIn. And he tells me that your LinkedIn page is your billboard to the world.
Right.
If it's not on your LinkedIn page, it didn't happen. So it's very hard for guys coming out of special operations or just military in general, because we're not used to promoting ourselves. It's all about selfless service, being humble, taking care of others. And here's a time where you have to promote in order to take care of yourself and to be seen. And if you don't do that well, you might be qualified, but that person might have promoted themselves better and they have the job. So it was hard for me at first, but guess what? I learned the game. I learned the game. I did the practice, and I learned that you have to be authentic. So right now I could say I don't know everything about LinkedIn, but I'm kind of like a LinkedIn Jedi right now. Like, Jedi level, 1, let's go 2. 1 would be Jedi number 1, but yeah, it was definitely hard.
So Chris, so tell me, I'm on LinkedIn. What is the one tip that you think that we all need to know that most of us don't know? I'm putting you on the spot here, brother.
So the best thing, and I'm going to take this from Uncle Joe Frankie, he told me, he says, if people can't see your eyes on LinkedIn, they can't trust you. So you have a photo on LinkedIn and I've seen people with sunglasses on. I've seen people with bad lighting, a bad photo. Make sure they can see your eyes. Start there, right? So that's 1. Your banner photo.
Yep.
I would say I didn't know that, and I learned that from him too. Your banner photo should amplify who you are. So if you're a project manager, then it needs to have something. So when I go to it, because he's teaching me from a perspective of a recruiter.
Right.
He's an executive recruiter, and he says he's going to look at your page. He's going to give you about 12 seconds. And if he can't figure out what you do in 12 seconds, the top of the fold, your photo, your banner image, your quick summary, those are the most important things right away that people could scan. And also, those are the terms that come up in your search. So I know a lot of people like to write, say, hey, I'm just a dynamic leader, blah, 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 blah. No, you need to put in there the positions you want. So if you want to be a project manager, then say that. If you want to be an editor, then say that. If you want to be executive marketing, then say that. Because that's what it's a database. When they use Boolean logic and they're trying to look for you, and that needs to be amplified out through your page, with keywords and those type of things. But no, that's what I would say. One thing right away
Okay.
that I didn't know.
Yeah, I teach a class on LinkedIn, and I have you haven't seen it yet. And I have 2 pages of pictures that I teach from in the class. It took me 3 hours. They are profile photos from people that I don't know, but it took me 3 hours to put it together because that's how long it took me to weed through profile pictures to find the good ones.
Yeah, yeah,
And there are people with squinty eyes, there are people
yeah,
with sunglasses, there are people with their backs to the camera.
yeah,
So I really love your
yeah,
tip about showing your eyes in
yeah.
your photo. We show so much of who we are through our eyes. I think that's
Oh yeah,
really important.
oh yeah, oh yeah,
I love that.
oh yeah. No, um, that's a that's a real. Another one he told me too about relationships, because whoever's scanning your LinkedIn page, they're looking for a way to connect with you.
Right.
Whether you went to the same high school, or you went to the same college, whether you're into wrestling, you both like badminton, or you both are part of the John Maxwell Network. I don't know how many people that have connected with me on something else, and then they went back and they read some more, and it was like, oh, you JMTR too. Like, oh yeah, yeah. And then it's like, you're my dude. We're family. Like automatic connection. So what
Right.
he says is that put everything on there. If you're able to be that authentic, put things about you that you want people to know. Hey, I was in FBLA when I was in high school. I want people to know that, because I want them to know that I was thinking about business when I was a kid in high school.
Right.
You know, I was a captain on my wrestling team. You know, I want them to know that I was a leader and I work hard, because everybody knows with the sport of wrestling, it's a hard sport. I want them to know that. So, I'm a mentor. I mentor for ACP. That's on my LinkedIn page. I'm helping other veterans cross that bridge, fill that gap.
That's so important, just to remember the gap, to fill the gap, because that's what we're trying to do. We're
Yep.
trying to fill the gap. Well, Chris, I have pages. I've been writing. I have and then I've been typing some of it. And so thank you so much for sharing your time with us and
Okay.
sharing your knowledge and your experience and your expertise. I really appreciate it. Like I said earlier, this video is going to be up for the next 2 days. And so if I forget to take it down, if I get busy, it might be up a little longer, but not much longer. But all you Changing Focus alumni, you're going to have access to it forever in our vault. And so thank you so much. If you are interested in learning more about the Leader Transition Institute, go to www.leadertransitioninstitute.org. And if you are interested in learning more about, I need to pull it up here. It disappeared from my screen. Hang on here. This is not good. Why is this taking so long? So now I'm getting it 4 times. Hang on a second here. If you want to know more about Chris and about where to find him, excuse me, I want you to do a couple of things. Number one, you Google the words, "I am your camera guy." That is who Chris is. That's his tagline. And you can email him at cmcphee@greenberetmedia.com. And I am going to put that in the chat so that if you have any questions, let me see if it'll come up here. Yep. If you are interested in getting in touch with him, there it is in the chat. Thank you so much for being on with us tonight. Look up Green Beret Media and reach out to Chris if you are in need of a photographer. I really appreciate it. And thank you, everybody, for being on with us. We'll see you again, 4th Tuesday of November. Okay.